All right, hey everybody. You know what? DayTraderRockStar here. It is Friday, 1:30. I'm going to try to get this video out to you beforehand. I did the HPS video, kind of a part one, and I wanted to update it. And today, again, seeing major action, so I thought we should get on here, kind of put out some thoughts going into this 3-day weekend. Oil tanked today. Dragged the markets down again. We start off here breaking through major levels. Now, at this point in the day, you're starting to see a significant, a pretty decent bounce. I've taken one trade out of this day, and it was right into this zone. And it was a good trade. It was an HPS setup, the way I look at it, because it was multiple trend lines. It was X marks the spot, plus it was a triple stochastic setup, but it also was a tradeometer signal, and we got a nice bounce. And I took that off, and then I went to lunch, and I've come back, and I've seen that the market has rallied a little. This is, we're talking a little, because the market's been down over 500 points today. If we end up closing down at these levels, the one thing I want to talk about is having that 3-day weekend. China will open up first, all right? And China will react to us. It always does. That's just the way it plays out, especially into these type of weekends. Let me get the chart back up here. I don't know what happened to it. Everything's going cuckoo on me. There we go. Let me bring that back up. So, you know what? So we should get that reaction to the downside, depending on how the day ends today. But you know what? The Chinese downside has been, getting priced in pretty severely. So now the Chinese markets are moving down, and we open up on Tuesday, and people expecting us to gap down. I would think that you would have to buy any type of weakness going into Tuesday, if we even get to that point. I know everyone's saying we're breaking down, we're going to a bearish market and stuff. You know what? It's the same fear. I was thinking about it. I said, Johnny, you can play it safe and just kind of agree, yeah, things are breaking down, but you could also take another look at this in a different way that most people don't look at it. And for me, I look at it lots of times on a psychological basis, crowds and people, sentiment and media exposure and all these new things that have never been really factored into these formulas. We could easily see trends, but we also see that a great I was listening to FT today, and even FT was said all the models and everything was pointing to a follow through day. It was a very bullish bounce. We closed higher. Everything was looking for a bounce going into today. Yet the market pushed back down and in a big way. So hence that alert or that signal did not play out for a lot of people, including myself. It makes it a bigger signal to the downside. It also tells you that these things are so random sometimes. They're so random. When you think up is up, it's actually down, and when you think down is down, it's actually up. Meaning, this type of action can easily push back up. There's no rule now, going forward. I think all the rules of how the market technically works is getting brushed aside. I think we're masters at the intraday trade. We're masters at the intraday trade. That's what we make our money on. These patterns, the HPS setups, everything about this. But the bigger picture, from one day to the next, being up and down, that would give you a headache. You really have to just break down these time frames now in a much smaller time frame, identify the high probability setups in that time frame and trade them and take them off, because there's no real guarantee for follow-through days, or, even to the downside. You would think that, wow, bear market territory, we're going to be in a bear market for the next 2 years. Have you looked at the chart? And have you seen what the economy is doing? All right, we have an election year. Things are kind of weird with the election. Who knows? The market might be pricing in something strange happening in the election when we get someone in the. I'm not even going to go into any political thing, but there's some wild cards out there, and Donald Trump is one of those. What is that a good? Will that be great for the markets? Will things get shaky? Does the election play a part going forward? But I'm not even worried about that. We're looking at these things that, we have to concentrate on what's going to happen tomorrow and why things are happening and why you should buy into strength and sell buy into weakness and sell into strength. this very well could be a great level. You know, I've seen people talking about that 1600 level. I don't think we're going back down there. I think the way the market's set up, the way ETFs and funds and are involved here, I just don't see it breaking down. Now, maybe call me naive, call me ultra a positive person here, but I'm not saying we're not going to go lower. But I don't think it's the beginning of a big disaster here. Big disasters on the chart are typically seen. We take a look here. Go back on our weekly chart. Big disasters here. That was 2000. That was the tech bubble right here. And a big disaster on the chart was the financial crisis right here. Is there a reason for a big disaster move down? That's what I'm trying to. If we look at it this way, quarterly, things look really, overdue to pull back. Technically, yeah. We're going to zoom in here to go back to my daily here. And I'm going to go back to weekly. All right, so that is weekly. So, there's a lot of things you could look at, but the fact is that tighter the time frames, we concentrate on what works great for us. Today, if we get this big reversal, I did start buying back into some calls, and I feel like, yeah, I got in a little early. They got rolled over, but now all of a sudden, they start to stir a little. And what happens if this is, an important reversal area? A lot of people would say no. Technically no. But I think we're in a new trading era where some of the signals are not always going to be the signals you're going to expect and receive. I've seen the markets just continue to move up. And we haven't seen that real failure. Today could be considered that. We did break down through some trend lines. It's a bigger trend line underneath us. All right. Technically, we'll see what happens. But beware, that these markets will, trick most. So when you hear so many numbers down below us, be cautious. And right now we're at 1865. We're seeing a lot of stocks move back up here now. All right, so that was just some comments I wanted to get out. I'm not on the mic today, but I also want to go into what's the worst case scenario? What am I looking at going into next week with the holiday? Well, worst case scenario, we kind of roll over and close near the lows. All right, Monday opens up, we're closed, but Asian markets are open. Asian markets are going to react from us, so they're going to be down, and they could actually be down, and that could cause some fear going into Tuesday. And then Tuesday, where we should probably start to see that fear, and maybe we do, I would, would look to buy into that, or expect something, expect a reaction off of that level. And that's the worst case scenario. And then the best case scenario right now, we pull back. Let's take a look at the. We haven't looked at the charts today. The daily is kind of chopping around. Do we have a divergence here playing out slightly? Maybe. Can't tell yet. 60-minute time frame is oversold. We have a daily 60 oversold. We have a little reversal candle. I mean, we could stretch this out a little and say, hey, is there a positive to be seen here? 5-minute is extended. It's kind of make or break going into the final hours here in the market. But this could be also considered a little flag. And I'm seeing some stocks here start to reverse, They were starting off okay, then they dropped off really hard. Now it's starting to climb back up. All right, so just to, I want to send this out pretty fast, but, regarding, market conditions right now, we are starting to push back up. There's a lot of things that can happen over, especially next week. 3-day holiday. Enjoy it. Don't stress this market too much. And again, personal opinion on my side is, I've seen so much in the markets, and I've seen the markets develop and kind of adjust to certain things. And And the fear that comes in when the market moves something a little outside the ordinary, is it tends to be a buying opportunity. Once you start to feel that, and I'm feeling that. Everything seems to have been getting just smacked around, and there's an argument there. But again, like I said, my opinion on kind of a newer way of approaching the markets.